Hi, Internet viewers. This is Frank Rauscher again. I just wanted to let you know that on the last video, we marked all the feathers out and we got all the ones in there. I'm going to show you the techniques for burning these in, and I'm going to show you some of the techniques for burning in certain areas as well. Okay, we are going to lift some of these and we are going to relieve them, but in some cases we're just going to do the burning. So I'm going to give you a little bit more on the feathering and then we will start in on the burning. Okay, so bear with me. I'm going to move the camera down and then you can see exactly what I'm trying to get at. Okay, see you then. Okay, I'm going to show you some more markings that I want to put on here. The first thing we want to do is make sure you've got the head center line coming down through here. Then I'm going to draw a line from here, and it's like wider as you come from the center line over, and then it pulls back a little bit, almost to the same as when you started. Then I'm going to do another line that widens and then thins out. Then you have the center line of the eye channel coming back like so. Then in the cheek area right here, we're going to keep it a little tighter. We're going to run a line just below the eye like so. And then this one, notice these are thinner up here, wider in here, and then they pull back. And this here comes back, this here comes back, and then this one comes back. Then we'll do this on the same thing on the other side. We're gonna come out here, go wide, and then come back. Then we're going to, let's see, just to make sure I did it right, I'm gonna come off of here, like so, and then come back in. Hope you can see this well. And then you have the eye channel. That's coming right on through. And then you have the cheek area is what I call it. And I come off of this, and it's sort of, this arcs a little bit like this, then this one. Gets a little wider as it comes back, and then you have this one here, and you have a small one down at the bottom here. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to sharpen my pencil. So that we can see these a lot better. What I'm going to do is put small scalloped feathers. I'm going to come in here and draw little ones, and they get a little bigger as they come back, and they're like elongated. I call it elongated C's. So, and then when I start going back towards the back here, they shrink up a little bit. Okay, like that. I hope you can see that well. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the next one. I'm going to try to stagger them a little bit so that they don't look like it's ring around the rosy here where they got all the same. And try to break it up a little bit. if you can, and so on. I'm going to do that. Let me get this one in front. And what you also want to do is to define where that beak stops and starts, okay, in the front here, so that when you go to do some burning, you have the right indicator where things start and stop. So coming through, and I'm doing the same steps that I did with the other ones here. And what I'm going to try to show you here is I'm going to do like half of this. You're doing the same thing on the other side, but just to expedite some time, which we're duplicating similar stuff here. And I'm going to try to show you exactly how to do it on the one side, but you're going to do it on the other side. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the feather layouts on these here. Notice this doesn't have to always be full feathering. We're trying to get this. This gets a little bigger as they come back, okay? Where the other ones thinned out as they came to the end here. So that's what I want you to do on the other side, okay? Now, the mantle itself, we started with like, or I don't know if I covered it in the last one. We had the mantle here. We're going to put a feather right in here. Here's the mantle. I'm going to heavy this up just so you can see the mantle itself. This mantle came all the way around here like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I put a feather up front here. I'm going to piggyback another one along the mantle here, another one here, and notice they're getting bigger as I come back. And I have the seeds sort of aiming that way. And then I have one here. And they gradually get bigger, and then you get right to the center, and I'm going to put a center one right in here. Now, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to try to put another one in between, another one off of here. I'm going to try to build one off of there, and here. And you may have to practice this. I make it look easy, but I've been doing it a lot. Okay, now I'm assuming most of my feathering on this side is going to stop, so I'm going to start doing the same thing on the other side here. You got one off of here, one off of there, and I'm going to gradually get one coming back, a little bigger, a little bigger. This one should butt right up to that one. Then I'm going to fill this in here and here, one off of there. I'm going to have to come up here, here, and as they gradually come back, they get bigger. And then I'll have one right in here, one here, one there. And I may have to fill one in here once I do this side, okay? But you can see these are all getting populated with feathers that gradually get bigger as they come back to the center here on both sides. Now, I'm going to heavy these in a little bit more too, because what I want to do is I want to texture these as well, but these are what they call the wing coverts, and I'm just trying to get them in there because most of the techniques for all the feather burning on this is the same. Once you get past these guys here, all this is going to get lifted, but these aren't. We're going to do an illusion of making feathers, but never raising them, never lifting them with a bit. So bear with me here. I want to get my pen, bring it over, and I'm going to try to show you exactly how this method goes. And one of the things I want to show you is this. I'm going to draw some exploded views of these feathers. Here's the thing coming back like this and like this. I'm going to burn on the leading edge like here, and I'm coming straight back, and I'm lifting as I go, so that what happens is the heat from the tip is going to burn the hottest once I put it down along that leading edge. And I'm going to go flaring out this way to the left, and then I'm going to flare to the right. And what it does, it depresses this area, and it makes it look like you lifted these feathers. And we're going to do that in every case here. We're going to come in here, and we're fanning out to the left, and we're fanning out to the right. And it doesn't have to cover the whole. If you do it right, it will texture out here, but the dark burn will occur right in the feather that you're piggybacking as you go back. Now watch me here. I'm going to do this. I just wanted to show you that as an exploded view. I'm going to start with the bigger feather so you can see it. Here's the feather I'm doing, and just to get it clarifying, this is the feather right here that I'm going to do, but I'm going to do them all. I just wanted to just show you as an example. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do this one right here. I'm going to plunge down and pull back, and it takes it. Let me take the temperature down just a little bit more, and I'm going to flare out to the left, flare out to the right. Notice it isn't burning back here, but you are texturing, okay? I'm going to do the next larger one. Hope I'm in the camera view because I drift at times. And we do this. And it's everything along that pencil line. Okay, now I'm going to go forward, which is tinier. So it takes a little practice to do this. And again, as I'm doing it, I make it look easy, okay? If I have like a little flipping action that I do here, that I'm actually lifting it slightly. And what we're doing is we're recessing that front area there. And depressing right along that line. And you have to have the right temperature, to get the look. And I'm going to follow through. You pick the middle of the feather, and then you flare out to the left, flare out to the right, and you come all the way around, and you start getting that look. And it really gives you a neat look. And it gives you a look that if you lifted the feathers, it wouldn't come up as good, I don't believe. That's my attitude about it. So I'm going to come in here right up to the edge of, these are really tiny in here, so you got to have a nice, I'm using, this is an Optima pen. It's a P12S. It's really small, but you can even do it with a wider tip. It's just that you got to come in and use the very tip, okay? But I'm going to do a few of these for you so you can get the flavor of it. Let me come back here. I think I missed a little bit. And now I have optivisors on, which are magnifiers, which really help. So if you ever need any, I do carry them, but I don't know, as I get older, I need to see things better, and the optivisors help. Let's put it that way. And they give you a nice range to work with, and they give you the additional magnification, which really helps. And I use that a lot. You don't see me on camera with it most of the time because I'm behind the scenes here, basically. But yeah, they are really helpful, very helpful. So you could see how that goes. I'm going to do one more row here, and then I'll do a couple in the cheek area. These real tiny ones here, you can't, it's almost like putting just little strokes in. But as you come back, you do want to get that flaring. Now, where I get around the eye area, I'm just acting like it's just there. And I go right into the eye area and flare out. See, like that. I hope you can see this well. And it takes some practice to do this. It doesn't come easy with everybody doing it here. I mean, you know, some people can do it right away, and then take some practice. You may want to get a little piece of wood and just practice this before you do it. If you notice, I take the center, then I flare out to the left, all along that pencil line that's in front of me here on that feather. And you can see the way things start to look. You know, it really gets the bird looks good, just burnt sometime. You know, I've had students that quit and didn't paint the bird because they like the burning so much. Okay, so there's one half of the top. Now we're going to come into the cheek area, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to come in here, flare out. And I'm always following that one in front. And I don't know how close the camera is getting in focus here. It does texture even one beyond the length of the feather. At least you should be. It shouldn't be a bald spot behind the dark burn. Okay, if you look closely, it does burn, but it singes rather than burns on the back end of the feather. And like I said, it takes a little practice to get the control of it, to get the look, okay? I'll do one more row here. I come right up to what would be the beak without going onto the beak. And these tiny ones can be a challenge to you, but it gives you such a nice look. on the bird. It really does. And so there's a couple rows. I need a couple more. Now that's half of it done there. Okay, and you really get a nice look if I get the whole thing done. I don't want to do everything on camera, but it's the same techniques. Now, when you get down to the mantle, it's going to be a similar thing. You're coming in here. Here's the feather here, but you're just coming along the boundaries of the pencil, and you're flaring out. And the pencil is that wing area, that line. So I use that plus the edge of the cheek as my boundary. And then each feather, I flare out to the left, flare out to the right, same thing. I'll come in here, and I'll flare out to the left, and then the right. Try not to go outside your feather. So I'm working with the point, okay? Then I'll come up here. Again, this is off the cheek. This is right at the end of the cheek going. And I always try to pick the first stroke as the middle of the feather, or the middle of the C. And then I come in here. See, here's the C here. This is my first stroke. It's not up this way. It's aiming towards almost the tip of the beak. If you use that as a directional burn, that's where we're going. Let me get this one up front. And you want to try to keep these as close together as you can. And with this type of tip, it's very fine, and you can really get in tight. And I hope the camera is doing it some justice so you can see exactly what I'm trying to pull off here. Now, when the feathers get long, you want to try to drag the pen a little longer down, just so it's marking everything. If not, then do a quick stroke through that. But the dark burn is this edge right here, right along that pencil line. And you're going to do this throughout all the mantle feathers here. But it's good to start and get all the top done. But there's basically, let me do a little bit more here, just to finalize one side here so you can see it. And what I'm doing is I'm always flaring out to the left and to the right. And I'm lifting as I go here. I'm not trying to drag the whole thing down, because if I go, I don't want to go to the end of these feathers. They're so small that you don't want to lay it totally flat. You're sort of flickering up, so you don't do the whole thing. Now there's half of it done. And when this gets the whole thing done, it just jumps out at you. Now, if you don't get that close, you may have to go back and stroke through it again to make sure you get everything the way it should be. Okay, I missed a couple here, which I thought I had. There you go. So that's that setup. Now, these little coverts in here, get the same effect. So I'm going to go in, use my wing boundary on one side and the feathering from the other one. I'm going to come out. And these are real tiny. So you got to make sure you're just working with the tip, the point of the burning pin. And if you have to really tilt it up to just get that tip in, that's the idea. And notice, I always try to pick the middle of the C for my first stroke and then flare out from there. Now, that should cover it, okay? So that's one side of it almost done. I didn't do all of the mantle, but even on the longer ones here, like here's a big one right here. And let me just, here's the feather here in front of it, and here's the one behind it that piggybacks off of that one. And here's the boundary of the other feather. I'm doing this feather right in here. So I pick the middle of the C, which is like right here. I make that stroke. I drag it a little bit longer than I do those real small ones, and I flare around with it. And I go all along that edge, and then I flare to the right. And then I'm going to leave this until I do the other side here. That is how we do it. Now, all the rest of this, I want you to hold off, and on the next video, I'm going to show you how we burn these in, and then we lift them. But all of these on both sides, including these coverts and the mantle, get done with this technique. So, hope you got something out of this one as well. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and if you would subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate that greatly. And I hope you enjoyed this as well. See you on the next video.